Evelyn Schellenberg interviewing Mr. X at Delta, British Columbia on November the 6th, 1975. Mr. X, as you wish to be known, if you tell me where you lived up to about 1930.
Well, my dad was a country school teacher in southern Manitoba, and we lived in various areas of southern Manitoba. During the time I was taking my public school and my high school.
Do you remember when you made your first money?
Well, my first money would be during the summer holidays, when I was last year or two in public school, and then during high school. In July and August, we had to go out and work on the farm. Started out with hauling grain, and then eventually got into heavier work of scooping and working in freshness.
So you worked in a farming area. Would it be too personal to ask what they paid you?
Well, as a young fellow hauling grain, I think it was 50 cents a day or $1 a top, I guess. And when you got 16 bundles, I think it was $2 a day, $2.50, nothing sure enough.
That was the going wage for young single men at that time.
That's right. It was, unless you were older and more experienced, you were happy to get the free.
What about the professional men, the men who pursued professional careers, for instance, like a school teacher? Would they get a higher wage?
Well, my dad had been teaching for a number of years, and he was his top salary was $100 a month. And that was out in country school, and we had up to 70 kids in one room.
What year would that be?
That would be during the 20s, probably around the 1926, 1927.
If you know of any of the young single men went to the city to obtain work when you were at high school and when you were out at your first job, the youngsters?
Well, I know of myself. When I finished high school, I went into Winnipeg, and after scouting around for a couple of days, I landed a job with the Winnipeg Supply and Fuel on a bit of a construction job where they were building a new coal yard, and I was hired as a carpenter's helper. I worked at that for a couple of months until the weather got bad. I met some friends of mine from the country, and they were working on a wood cutting gang. So they persuaded me to quit the job I was at and go with them. They were supposed to be making good money. You got 10 cents a cord, and there was 4 people to a gang, and you were expected to cut 40 cords a day. So that would be $4 a day, which was pretty good money. But that worked out all right if you're working in a yard where you could, just keep cutting all day. But if you had to scout all over town with this portable saw, but you wouldn't make that much. You'd be lucky if you got 10 or 15 cords a day.
How did you fare for food? Did you go to the restaurant and buy it, or did you make your own in a rooming house? Or what?
No, in a rooming house, we just had a room, and it was quite reasonable. I don't remember what I paid for it, but for food, we used to buy a meal ticket. And most of the restaurants along Main Street, they sold you a ticket for so many meals. It worked out to about 15 cents a meal. And whenever you had a meal in the restaurant, they'd punch a hole in the card until the card was filled, and then you had to buy another one. It was quite reasonable food, and the food wasn't too bad, but it was very much of a monotony to it. It all tasted the same after a while.
To be personal again, that was not what you would call a relief ticket, would it, Steve?
Oh, no. No, you bought that yourself. That was, you were entirely on your own. I was never on relief.
Oh, I've heard a lot about these. Now, would you like to, or would you know something about the single women of around your age, where they always employed in stores, as you say? The single women seem to get the jobs, and the men were sort of left out. Is that true?
I don't know. I wasn't involved with any women. I was just a young fella and rather bashful at that time, and I have actually no first-hand knowledge of that.
I don't know. They always say that the store clerks that get fairly good job in the stores in the cities, and the single men were not able to get these jobs. They would hire the women because they could pay them less. That was the system they did. I just wondered if you knew anything about that.
No, I wasn't involved in any working jobs, so I wasn't aware of anything like that. But that's quite possible. It sounds reasonable.
You had some relatives on the farm. Would you know what the domestic girls would be paid, those that did not pursue careers?
About $10 a month. But I think that was figured out to be top wage for a domestic at that time. And of course, they got the room and board.
Do you remember, say about the year 1933? These books I've been looking at made a statement that by 1933, half of the workmen in Canada were unemployed. How were you affected? Or your family?
Well, I always found work, but I had to hustle around to get it. I couldn't find any in Manitoba at that time, and I went to Saskatchewan. I rode the freight to Saskatchewan, and I managed to get work there in spring at a farm, and worked for 2 months. The crops came along pretty good, and then the drought started, and the grasshoppers came along, and the farmer was obliged to let me go. He just had no crop coming in at all. And so I went on to Alberta that summer. I graduated to the what they called the flyer. I rode the tender of the flyer to as far as Medicine Hat. And then the railroad police picked me off the train there, and I hitchhiked to Calgary. And from there north to Red Deer. I slept in the park in Calgary, by the way. That's my hotel room. And in Red Deer, the crops looked very good there, and had no trouble getting work on a farm. And I spent the summer and fall working there until the farm work was finished.
Back to the wages again. What did your employees do?
I think it was $20 a month. It was during the middle of the Depression, and it was considered quite fair wages.
What type of work did you do again on the farm?
All the farm work connected with the crop. You'd be cutting grain, stooking the bundles, and then when the thrashing gang came along, of course, you'd help them at the thrashing machine, pitching bundles or whatever was needed.